Hello. We are in week 3 of Fretboard Roadmap, and we are starting on B. So last week we started on A, and the previous week we started on G. Every week for the first 7 weeks, we're introducing a new 3-in-a-string scale position pattern, and then the last 3 weeks we're really working on combining them, going up and down the neck, etc., etc. We're in the key of G for the whole series, for all 10 weeks. This week, starting on B, let's get right into the scale. So we're starting on B, we're in the key of G. That means we have G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. We've stressed the past several weeks that it is important that you name your notes, that you consider the scale degrees while you're playing. We're still going to start just by learning the pattern, and then we'll talk about note names. Here we go. 7, 8, 10. Low E. 7, 9, 10. 7, 9, 10. Okay. 7, 8, 10. 7, 9, 10. 7, 9, 10. Again. 7, 8, 10. 7, 9, 10. 7, 9, 10. Then we've got 7, 9, 11. I'm going to choose to finger this way, but you can choose to finger it however you want. Then we do a position shift up 1 fret, and we do 2, 8, 10, 12s. All right, from the very beginning. Seven, 8, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 11, 7, 9, 11, 7, 9, 11. One more time on the way up. Down. Again. Okay, let's look at the notes. We're starting on B, which means we have B, C, D, E, F sharp, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. Now, how did we go about, this is just a refresher from the previous weeks, we go about sort of committing these to memory. Simply playing the scale doesn't really do that. You remember what we did? We took, the drill is that we are playing against the drone track and listening to the way certain tones reside over the drone and going, okay, this is a B or this is an E and this sounds a certain way. We're imprinting the way things sound in order to help us learn the notes and their relationship to the tonic or the tonal center for the week. So it's one thing to name the notes as you play, which is a good thing. It's another thing to do what we're going to do later, and that is relate what we're playing to the musical tonal center for each week. Okay, so B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. On the way up. E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D, C, B. Going through. Oh, okay, it's an F sharp. There's an E. It's a G. A. B. B is functioning as the 1 this week, and the way we're playing it over the B drone and the B tonal center. So that's the other thing we've covered, is that once we get away from, when you're playing G over G, you do consider this the 1. That was from G. When you're playing A over A in the key of G, you can consider that A would then assume the role of 1. Same with B. So we could say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. If we're saying B is the tonal center. If you're saying G is the tonal center, then we start on the 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But if we're starting on B, and we say this is 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Create a very unique sound to starting over B. Kind of a cool sound. Any questions before we drill the scale pattern?
No questions yet.
Okay. Start at 90. Da 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 da. stop there for now at 130. Now for the sequence. This is a great sequence. It's a simple sequence, but it doesn't make it easy. What we're doing is we're taking each string and we're doubling it, and we're playing it with hammer-ons. We're going up. It's an ascending sequence. So we're taking the first set of 3 and we're playing it twice. So there's a set of hammer-ons, and then a pull-off, and then 2 more hammer-ons. That's how that works. And we just take the whole scale like that. Okay, the trick is, once you start getting a little bit more nimble with it, is making sure that all the notes are sounding equally. You want to make sure and accentuate that pull-off. Because we're only picking every time we change strings. Very important to keep your muting. I have to be moving this even though I'm not picking as much. This hand plays a very vital role in making sure the strings don't ring out. Watch if I don't do that. You start getting all these other noises in there. By having your hand low profile and strategically picking certain notes in the context of the legato, you're ensuring a good sound. And this is always more fun with a little bit of drive. But you do not want to add more drive at the expense as a band-aid, because you can't do it. You want to make sure that you can cleanly do it clean as well.
We have a request that when you're playing with the metronome, if you could do a short count in.
Sure.
That way people can start with you right at the beginning of the...
Sure, absolutely. Let's take it to the metronome. Starting tempo for this is recommended at 70 beats per minute. So now, just like last week, this is set up, and so I want to clarify this. Chris, when we do the badge for this week, we want to make sure that 70 at quarter note equals 70. That would be 1, 2, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. That's not a good starting tempo. But if we were 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So if we half the note value, that was 70, as if this were played as 8th note triplets and not 16th note triplets, would be where we want to start. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. That's how we're going to do it for the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Da 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 da. Here's the count in. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. up 10 beats per minute. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Go up to 90. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Okay. Now this will represent a little bit of a jump. But let's go back down to 70. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that'll be. It's not actually that much faster than just increasing it a little bit, but we're now playing the subdivisions as written. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. Okay, let's go up to 80. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. $90. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It has this nice rolling feel once you start to get a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 110. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4. might be where I need to stop this week. Let's see if I can pull off 120 cleanly. Push it a little. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Definitely the ceiling. So you can see this one's pretty easy to work up to speed, and as long as you're making sure that you're paying attention to the subdivisions, that you're keeping in mind that the accents, it's a fun one to play, and it'll work nicely in parts over our backing track. Before we go to the backing track, let's have any comments or questions, and before we do that, let's hit the drone over the scale and utilizing scale pattern and the sequence.
All right, we have one question here, and this is from Greg GP, and he would like to know, is Chris avoiding the word mode again?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. Shall we play over the drone? that's fun. Okay, so what we've done now is we've established ourselves over the tonal center. What I'm going to do that again, and we're going to point out certain note names. And also we're going to talk a little bit about the intervals, or the numbered tones as well. Then from there, we'll go to our wonderful backing track and have a lot of fun over it. Any questions or observations of any kind?
We have a question over on YouTube. I'm wondering where the root notes are in that scale. If maybe you could go over that again
yeah,
real
great.
quick.
The roots are B. So we've got B, 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 B. So we've got B, B, B. There are our roots. So it's kind of neat because we've got that octave relationship in there, and this is a great little area. Oops. Nice. It's a nice sort of two-string. You saw me vamping on that a little bit in the. So those tones. We've got B, C, E, F sharp, and then you've got your other root here. So we've got 1, we've got 7. We would call it a flat 7 if we were talking about B being the tonal center. We've got B and A. So B, A, B, C. B, A, B, C, E, F sharp. And that area over the drone is just such a sweet, sweet little area. And see if you can imprint how these notes sound over certain tonal centers. Your soloing is going to go through the roof. Obviously B, but C over the B is just. And then of course your A in the context of C down to B. Forever. It just sounds so musical and cool. Same an octave lower. So that's the B, the C, the A, and the B. Those are extremely crucial notes when playing over a tonal center of B. Any other questions?
Yep, this question is from An-K, who's watching over on YouTube live stream. Do you generally try to play around the roots?
Well, with the exercise that we're doing right now where we're shifting tonal centers, it's a great way particularly with when you're playing off of the third degree of a scale, that's just such a strong relationship that we'd call it a 1 to a flat 2 relationship. Last week we didn't really do that as much. We were playing off the second degree of the scale, and there are different tones. It doesn't have to do necessarily that you're playing off the root. It has more to do with where those key tones open themselves up to you. And in this week, it just happens to be that 1 flat 2 relationship. Last week with A, it's really more if we're toning, talking about tones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's really the 6, 7, 6, 5 relationship. If we're playing along with, let's just backtrack here real quick, because I think I can better answer the question. So if we're here and we're in week 2, we're playing over the A drone. You can hear, right here, the relationship isn't as interesting down here. As it is, who cares? But if we come up here, it's a unique sound. That's the 6th degree of the scale starting on A. There it becomes much more compelling and interesting. And that's the 3 on a string starting on A. We didn't really use the root there that much, but it's because you start, as you do this over and over and over, you start to find little sweet spots of the scale that suggest themselves as being unique and cool sounding. It just so happened that in week 3 and starting on B, that root to flat 2 sounding relationship sounds so awesome. Good question.
Okay, this one is from Martin, and Martin would like to know, is this a B minor scale?
It has minor qualities. It has a minor, it has a minor sound to it, because if you harmonize a G major scale, B is minor. G, A, B. B is going to be a minor sound. It's not quite a straight minor. There's some different things going on if you look at the theory behind it, which we're not going to get too deep into. We're more about training our ears to play over different tonal centers, rather than getting too deep into the theory of it. Because that sometimes if you get too deep into the theory first, you can shortchange the opportunity for your ear to really start understanding things.
Okay, that's all the questions we have right now.
All right. Let's look at the backing track. Pretty standard sounding. It's exploiting that relationship, right? Yeah. So you can have a lot of fun with that one. A lot of fun. And they only get, well, I don't know, starting on A is a pretty fun one. That might be one of my favorites. Starting on C, which we'll be covering next week, is also extremely fun, a very different sound. But, you know, we're working up the neck. You now have 3 different areas to play a G major scale, and we've explored how many different, 3 different sounds you can get out of the G major scale. You're learning your notes. You're mapping your neck all the way up using the 300 string scales, but at the same time, we're training our ear and we're developing more technique. We're taking the guitar, we're taking these, you know, hammer-ons and pull-offs and picking and different sequences as an excuse to build our technique while we're training our ear, while we're mapping the neck. Any other questions or comments or observations?
We do not have any comments or questions at the moment.
Okay.
So if you guys have some, just get them in the chat there, and Chris will answer them directly.
Yeah, we'll hold on for a couple minutes here. No question is a dumb question.
Mixolydian likes the fact that he's getting some good funk out of this feel.
Cool.
It's kind of a rocky, funky little thing.
Yeah, the track is... I like the rhythm on the track, too. It's sort of... You feel like you're constantly tripping or something. And tripping is not like high, but tripping isn't like... It's the rhythm makes you feel like you're going to trip.
Yeah. And Ann K over on YouTube comments that he really likes it. Great work.
Well, thank you. So part of this, as many of you are already hinting at, part of learning this way, learning the 300 string scales this way, is it prepares your ears for greater improvisational capabilities over different chord progressions, over things that you're going to... If you go through these 10 weeks, practicing over these different tonal centers, doing the exercises, when it comes time for you to take your soloing to the next level and study music theory in a greater way, you're going to understand it like that. People make music theory too complicated a lot of times, and they start with theory. They don't start with the playing. But if you've got your neck mapped out like this, think of this as a prerequisite to really being able to dive into music theory, specific aspects of music theory, and understand it on a much better level, because you've already applied what you're going to be learning in the book sense. I guess I just want to say that word of encouragement to you guys as you continue through this course, because that maybe is the most vital part of this course.
Got a question here from Mixolydian. When practicing, should we review the previous weeks or stay on task with the current week?
I think it's totally fine to review the previous weeks. As long as you are on task for the current week, I think that's totally cool. I think it's fun to play overall the different tonal centers. There's a new track for each week, so naturally, you know, wanting to play over those and wanting to jam out over them. You know, to me, there's a certain flavor of some of these tones that I just really, really like. I really like starting on A. I really like starting on C. I like starting on D. I mean, those are probably my 3 favorites, just in the flavors that they create.
Okay, that's all the questions right now.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much. Practice up, starting on B. The guided practice is very specific. It walks you through and it gives you certain time pockets to work over the work over the drone, work over the track, and then it gives you a blank area, which is designed if you wanted to do additional click practice or if you wanted to just work on certain areas of the scale. But each week includes a 15-minute segment countdown after the review of the material so that you can really get the most out of what you're learning. So follow the guided practice. I look forward. There were some great badges this week on this, by the way, on this stuff. You know, you guys were able to get the strings and the sequences, scales and the sequences up to tempo, and it was really fun to watch. It's really cool to see you guys applying this stuff. Let's go ahead and add you'll do the sequence, you'll do the scale, and then improvise, jam a little bit over the track. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing over the track specifically. So, we'll see you next week for Starting on C.